What is up, everybody? That's here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a video going over my favorite VGC format of all time. For those of you guys that don't know, the Ruins of Alph format this month, one of them is actually VGC 2013. This is way back in the day, 11, almost 12 years ago. This is where I started going to regionals. I started playing VGC in 2011. I played through 2011 and 2012, mostly online and little online competitions, but I started going to regionals in 2013. And if you guys actually want to see some of those regionals games, those are up on my YouTube channel. You can actually search like THATSAplusONE VGC 2018, go back and scroll and see like a bunch of these different like VGC metas. The meta was so different back then. It wasn't like pin your opponent off the lead, get up your speed control, and just win really, really fast. Games lasted a really long time. Like, this is like a 10-minute game. Like, games used to last 10, 12 plus turns. They took a long time. It was all about positioning and like trying to get like the right board position. It was just a very, very different meta from how things were back in the day. So since Ruins of Alph is featuring VGC 2013, I figured I would show you guys one of my favorite VGC 2013 teams. I would show a little team building guide for it, and then maybe play some games. If you guys want to see some more VGC 2013 content or have any questions about this format, think about letting me know in the comments, and let's just start this off and get right into it. So yeah, VGC 2013 is a very different format. This is Gen 5. This is Black and White 2. This is before fairies. This is still with hidden power in the game. And I think it's still with hidden power in the game. Let's put a random mon up here. Yeah, this is still with hidden power in the game. It's been a while since I've played it. Hidden power is a base 60 in this game as opposed to base 70 in some of the other ones. But it's very, very different. Like, there's no, like, for example, like one of the best mons, we sort this by base stats. This is like all the best mons in the format. You see, there's no restricted. This is like a expanded decks, but like the best mons in this format are going to be things like Cresselia, Landorus, Therian. Because while Intimidate's in the game, you would think like, oh, well, I'll just use King Gambit. Like, there's no King Gambit. There's no Annihilate. There's no Incineroar. There's no Rillaboom. Like, terrains don't exist. This is just a very, very different game, and weather is permanent. So it's just a very, very different game. I'm going to be building down the team that I used in my last regional of the format, which I got top 32 at that regional. So this is technically like a Top Cut-esque team from a very, very high-level event. This event was actually like the day that X and Y came out was when this regional was. This is back when regionals used to be free. You used to just show up at the event, sign your name, and then you were entered. It was a pretty cool format. So this team was built around Cresselia. Like I was talking about, one of the biggest differences between 2013 and now is how speed control was worked. Your speed control and your speed tiers were always locked in at the start of the turn. So you know nowadays how you would go like Tailwind with your Whimsicott or Tornadus and immediately enable your teammate? Well, you'd have to go Tailwind, Protect, and then reap the benefits of that speed control at the start of the next turn. Now that sounds so backwards, but that's how it used to be. Your speeds were always set at the start. So like imagine if you like wanted to use like an Icy Wind or a Thunder Wave, that would not take effect, lowering your opponent's speed until the start of the next turn. So a lot of these like hyper aggressive tools that you use in formats nowadays, like Sand Rush, like for example, if I had an Excadrill and I pivoted in a T-Tar, I wouldn't be fast until next turn. So a lot of those hyper offensive pinning tools did not exist back then. So you, instead of playing for pins off hyper aggressive tools and fake out pins and things like that, you wanted to play for value and not getting one-shotted and be able to slightly outvalue and out-chip your opponent. You saw a boost in Swagger usage, Thunder Wave usage, and playing the long methodical game with the right mons that put the right amount of potentially like two-shotting most of your opponent's mons. You always wanted to do a little bit more to them than what they did to you. And so it was a really cool format for that. So we're going to be using Cresselia with this team. We're also going to be featuring Jellicent. So while, again, we're not going to be featuring a lot of like Tailwind turns, I also think Tailwind in this game, I just want to see, so Tailwind, what gets Tailwind? I think Tailwind had like different speed, different amount of turns in this game. Or this might have been the first game. So it was 4 turns. Up until this game, Tailwind was only 3 turns. So, Tailwind was still like a new concept, and since it took a turn to activate, and you didn't even get like your full amount of turns off of it, like it was just not really that popular, which just sounds crazy, but it's just how it was. And every team had Cresselia on it, so you would always see a ton of Trick Room. So you didn't really see like Tailwind and Trick Room. What you actually just saw is even a lot of these Trick Room teams had a couple mons that were just pretty fast that forced your opponent to respect your speed tiers. And if anything, if you had it, like your opponent had anything that was faster than you would Trick Room them. And this is also back in the day when things were best of 1 regionals. You show up, closed team sheet, no open sheet, no Terra, you can't see what your opponent's hidden powers are. and it's best of one. And if you lose early, you're gonna have bad tiebreakers, which means you don't make top. There is no X2 into like day 2. There is like my first regional. I think I went 5 or 6-2, and I missed cut. Right, like that's just how it goes. Like I got top 32, but I didn't have enough tiebreakers to get into top 8. Right. I think I got 17th or 18th. But anyways, let's just talk about this. Cresselia Jellicent, really cool. Jellicent gets a lot of tools like Water Absorb. Very cool mon. This is before Strength Sap. This is before a bunch of other things. It's a secondary Trick Room setter. It gets good double stab moves and gets access to Water Spout, which is really good. And the main gimmick of this format, which I really like, it's my favorite gimmick of all of them, are gems. Gems are the thing in this format. So you see gems here. It says the first successful attack of a specific gem will give you a 1.5 power boost. So it gives you like a choice item boost on the first time you use these moves, which means they can be outplayed by protects. They can be outplayed by damage mitigation and pivots and things like that. So for example, like if I were to use Cresselia and I were to have like a psychic gem and I would like to click psychic, and my opponent fake outed me first, that would not waste my gem. But if I click Psychic and they click Protect, my gem is now wasted. It's a lot better than what you think the normal gem is now. Normal gem's only a 1.3 boost. This is a 1.5, very significant. Remember, the whole point of like using any hyper offensive tools is to get your opponent in situations where you can like two-shot them. There is no like one-shotting Cresselia. This is a pre-nerf Cresselia. It has way too high base stats. Even like super effective stab moves aren't going to KO this thing. And this is before, I don't even know if knockoff's in the game right now. Yeah, knockoff's not in the game, right? So this is a really like good mechanic, I think, and it promotes like a lot of like mixed sweepers. What you would see a lot of the time is if someone used like something like Salmons, which wasn't like that popular. Another one that let's use like Landorus, for example. People would use like Landorus, right? And they would come in with like Earthquake, right? That's a physical move, and they would come in like you didn't even really see people use like Rock Slide that much, even though like we were looking at it back in the day, like looking at it from an outside perspective. 30% chance to flinch on 2 moves. This was really popular. Most people actually just ran Stone Edge back in the day, because Stone Edge again helped seal up those like 2-hit KOs in a lot of situations. That's just how the meta was. And then what you might actually see is you might see someone with like a hidden power, like flying Landorus with a flying gem, and that's how people would use like a mixed sweeper Landorus to get like. They'd be like, okay, well, I can get the boost here, and then they can unlock it, and then, like, I wish it got acrobatics, but it didn't, right? So this is how you would be like that mixed sweeper Landorus, like weird stuff. So people would have, like, mixed sweeper things where they just get the boost for that one turn they want to go ham on the offense other side. Salmons, for example, could have things like Earthquake, and it could have Dragon Claw or Outrage. So let's put like Dragon Claw and then Outrage. And then it might even have something like, well, it could have, like, Dragon Claw and then, like, Draco. Right? And you could just put a dragon gem here. And so if you're running like a Moxie Mence with a dragon gem, you know, you're actually like sitting here thinking like, okay, well, I can go for a really big one to get the KO with my dragon gem to guarantee my Moxie boost. Or if I can get the KO with like an Earthquake or something like that, I'm in a good spot. Or you can even use your dragon gem to get a KO in a special attack situation against something that has like a really high base defense, like a Conkeldurr, because remember, Assault Vest isn't in the game. And then that'll give you that Moxie boost, which means you sweep them with these two. So there's so much like cool team building that you can do in this format. I just really like this format. It's my favorite format. I think it's one of my favorite formats, at least. This is the only format that I've ever really been excited to play VGC about. So let's get back to the team building guide. Cresselia Jellicent is what I built my team around. And from here, you might think this would go down like a Trick Room route with things like a Abomasnow and Hariyama. This is where I like to deviate and go into Dragonite and Garchomp. A little bit of double dragon. And if you actually want to see battles featuring this exact team, there's a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. Like there's multiple iterations of this team. This video right here features actual replays from regionals if you want to check that out, where I review every single turn by turn. Yeah, Mega was good, Thundy was good, Metagross has been good. Like there's just a lot of like stuff that we did for like these older formats and stuff like that. So think about checking out some of that stuff. There's a lot of good old nuggets of information on the YouTubes. But yeah, Dragonite was not very popular. If you think about it from Reg H, like everyone's like, oh yeah, Inner Focus, like cuts Intimidate. Doesn't cut Intimidate in this one. It's not good. Fake Out wasn't even that good in this format. Multi-Scale is the better ability, and Dragonite just wasn't used. It was just not a big guy. You just didn't really see that much Dragonite. T-Tar was one of the most important Pokemon in the format. T-Tar Sandstream, unlimited weather. It does not go away after 5 turns. Breaks Dragonite's multi-scale. This mon's bad in most people's eyes. The way that I like to use Dragonite is it's a mon that you can pair next to Dragonite that forces them to bring out that T-Tar to break your multi-scale. And then from there, if I'm forcing you to a T-Tar, you can't tear away. You can't do anything to not die. Garchomp, Pinch, or T-Tar, right? That's the value there, right? So that's what I liked about the Dragonite. I think Dragonite was just a different take on a lot of things. And if I was going into a more of a Trick Room play, like, Dragonite does have good damage with, like, E-Speed. So this team is mostly built around, like, a mixture of, like, Jellicent, Cresselia, Garchomp, but I do like my Dragonite here, so we'll talk about that when we start to flesh it out. Last 2 mons on this team are a little bit weird. We have Metagross. And Metagross was still very popular. I would say, other than like these two, some really, really popular Pokemon in this format are going to be things like Rotom Wash, Conkeldurr, Landorus, both Latios forms. Tyranitar, very, very popular. You didn't really see a lot of like other stuff like that. Suicune you saw every once in a while. Terrakion was still kind of popular from VGC 2011. Thunderous, both Genies were really solid. Zapdos was huge. Gyarados saw some play. Rhyperior was really, really big in Trick Room teams. But that's about it. The last mon that I used here was Scrafty. And you could say, Scrafty? Why didn't you use Conkeldurr? Well, I did like the Intimidate, and I did like the Fake Out. And I feel like there were 3 types of people. There were the Conkeldurr people, the Scrafty people, and the Hitmontop people. And the Hitmontop people were like, okay, like, I want to use, like, Intimidate and Fake Out, and maybe have just, like, a little bit more damage. There were also, like, Hariyama people. Those weren't... We don't talk about Hariyama people. Those were straight Trick Room players. We don't associate with that. So there was the Hitmontop people, which wanted to have a little bit more offense. There was the Conkeldurr people that just, you could slap a Conk onto any team and it was perfect. It was like the best mon in the format. There was nothing that one-shotted Conkeldurr other than some of the tech that we're going to talk about today. There were people that were straight up using like Psychic Gem, like Psychic Metagross to break Conkeldurr because there's no AV. Like this was a thing to be able to OHKO Conkeldurr, like big thing. You saw this a lot. And Conkeldurr's like, oh man, it was such a cool format. Like you're never gonna see this. You're never gonna see Psychic Metagross out here. But yeah, I liked Scrafty, and I think it was the mix of both because like Scrafty was the in-between of all of them that didn't have that weakness, because it was still a Dark type. This is actually before Dark types were immune to Prankster, so you could actually get like Prankster T-Wave by Thunderous, but at the same time, Scrafty didn't have a weakness to Cresselia. Cresselia didn't get Moonblast. All Cresselia had to hit you with was like Ice Beam. So I really like Scrafty, specifically as a mon that can pivot into Cress, fake out their Cress, and then go for like a normal gem crunch. Remember, knockoff's not in the game, to be able to do big damage to their Cress, because like all these mons actually struggle really hard with Cresselia. So I really like Scrafty. Scrafty was the mon that really pulled this whole team together. And I will say, in like a lot of these videos, like I didn't gen my mons or anything like that. Everyone that was like top cutting the events gen'd everything, but like I was like top cutting events with like 1 or 2 IV Pokemon with like subpar natures, like just straight outplaying people. And like I tested on like simulators. This was like kind of on the cusp of when Showdown was coming around. We still used a lot of like, what is that? Like Shoddy Battle is the older simulators. I can't remember one of the other ones. Pokemon, it was just called Pokemon Online, was another one of the simulators back then. But like we tested with like max IVs. And so, like, I knew that you're supposed to have those, but, like, you just couldn't get, like, perfect IVs and natures. There were no mints in the game. There were no bottle caps. It was really hard. Like, I took this Scrafty and, like, dump truck people. There were events that I went undefeated in that I played in over the years, too, where, like, I have an Adamant Nature, max, like, a 31 in speed and 31 in attack, and I'm, like, golden. I'm, like, so happy. I think my Garchomp was, like, 3 IV. My Dragonite was, like, 2 or 3 IV. My Metagross was, like, 1, because, like, Metagross can't breed the same way as other things. You have to breed it with Ditto, and ain't no one out here having 6 IV Dittos, 15 years ago, so, yeah, it was hard. It was hard. But, you just had to roll with the punches. So, like, once you come up with the team, then you start, like, inputting the IVs and stuff you have. But the struggle was real, but I think that's part of what made it fun. I think the whole time I used a timid Cresselia, and I still use the same timid Cresselia all the way up through, like, 2015 when those mons got legalized as well, when you could bring back old mons and use them. And I top cut Lancaster regionals with the same Cresselia using a very similar set, which was very dated by that point. But yeah, this was the mons that I used, and so what I'm going to do here is just go flesh out a lot of their sets. This was a Citrus Cresselia. This was the best item in this format, was the Citrus Berry. Remember, there's no Assault Vest, right? Leftovers are mid. They're like okay, but again, you can only use one. The item clause still exist. And so there's no vest, there's no like wiki berries or anything either. It's this or like the shell bell, right? So being able to not, and remember, like I said, the whole meta is built around not getting two-shotted by a double up. Because like this is a lot of people, like there's a lot of singles players playing doubles. They're seeing like what lines can they go to like two-shot something, right? So not losing your Cresselia on like the first, second, or third turn of the game is huge. So Citrus Berry, best item in the format. So that's what I had there. I had a water gem here, which we'll talk about that in just a sec. I had my lefties on my Dragonite to be able to recap multi-scale if I did take damage, so I did like that. And it made it so, and again, there's no safety goggles to be able to stop like Amoonguss and stuff like that. There's also no Pollen Puff on Amoonguss, so even if like Amoonguss is like a really popular mon, it wasn't doing as much like, you know, annoying stuff as it would have in like these more formats. So yeah, I liked leftovers, being able to cap off my Dragonite and stuff like that. I could even protect and get lefties tick, so I thought this was really good. Dragonite, Garchomp, for the few regionals I took this to, had a couple different sets. I liked Banded Garchomp, but at the same time, I also knew that this team needed to use its Sash, so I'm going to use Sash for just a little bit, but I like both of them. Both of them have their good and bad features. The good thing about Sash is like I don't have to Earthquake my own teammates. I also can just soak an Ice Beam from something like Galatios, trade with it, and then we win the game because we took him on for not losing one in that game. Metagross did not have Psychic Gem. I actually had an Akaberry here because Heatran was a big jerk, and Heatran back then in Gen 5, Heatran had Eruption. It had to be ran on a very specific Heatran set, but Heatran had Eruption back in Gen 5. That was ridiculous from an event Heatran. So you had to respect stuff like that. So you would eat the Fire Attack Eruption and reply back with an Earthquake. And again, picking up a Pokemon and not losing one means you just have the resources to outvalue. And then Scrafty had a Dark Gem to be able to, like I said, crunch, break the Cresselia. So let's start setting some of our abilities. We have to Levitate here. Water's was very good here. Multi-scale. I actually used Sandvale Garchomp. The idea here, remember, like I said, was Dragonite would force their T-Tar, which we can punish with this, right? So like Dragonite, Cress, Jellicent, this was big T-Tar bait. So what I wanted to do is make them bring their T-Tar, set that unlimited weather to activate my Sandvale. Again, Fake Out wasn't that big in these formats. Special attackers actually weren't like... Sorry, it was mostly special attackers. The only physical attackers were things like Conk. And then you had like Landorus and T-Tar, but those used like moves that didn't make contact, like Rock Slide, Stone Edge, and Earthquake, right? And even like when you did see Mamoswine, like Ice Shard doesn't make contact and stuff like that. So you didn't really need Rough Skin in this format. Plus, I didn't have a hidden ability Gibble. Like, you think I go into the dream world every single day? That's how you used to have to get hidden abilities. You used to have to go into like a third-party program that you could go into for like 1 hour a day that would sometimes maybe give you a hidden ability Pokemon if you played the game correctly and got lucky. And that was the only way to get hidden abilities. There were no ability patches or ability capsules or anything like that. The game was just straight up hard back then. It was a struggle. Metagross, we have Clear Body, obviously, and Scrafty, we use the Intimidate. Right, and Scrafty, I did have the hidden ability Intimidate Scrafty, and that's like, that took a long time to get, right? So I like this set. I like these mons. Let's start building our sets. So our Cresselia was a dual screen Cresselia. And you could say, why aren't you using like a light clay? Like normally people would go with like a light clay here. And the idea with this was like, light clay is cool, but like Cresselia is not going to die. Like if my set is light screen reflect, Moonlight, I can just set my dual screens and then click Reflect for 3 turns. Sorry, click Moonlight for 3 turns and then reapply my screens. And one thing that you could put here is like we ran Ice Beam here, just because like dragons were sometimes problematic. Like you want to sometimes do chip. Like I said, the idea was to have this Cresselia just sit on the board for as long as possible. Actually, did I run this? I'm thinking I have Trick Room on something. No, I think I have Ice Beam. I could have swore I put Trick Room on this guy, though. I just have one screen? No, I think I have Trick Room on my Jellicent. No, what did I do here? Did I not have Moonlight? No, actually, yeah, I didn't have Moonlight. Yeah, I'm mixing like so many different like events I've taken this thing to. This is what it was. Yeah, the reason why, if I had Light Clay, right, a lot of people... Right, so we could have ran the Light Clay with the Moonlight, which I've ran in events, but what I did for the last, like, half of the season was I just used Citrus Berry as my healing and just sat on this. And so that's what I did. Again, we're trying to force T-Tar. Remember, you restore less health with Moonlight. So yeah, I really like this set. So this way I could go like protect with my teammate, get the Trick Room up, and then just win. And you still want some damage with Ice Beam. So the way I did this was we would have Protect here, right? And so turn 1, we would go Protect, Trick Room, and then turn 2, we would pop off with the absolutely massive Water Spout. 150 base power boosted by the Water Gem. Good stuff. I like this. We also have the Shadow Ball. And then the last move here, this guy gets recover, and it's not bad, so you can recap your own moves. But I think I ran Energy Ball because like other Jellicents like were a thing, and I don't know how often I really use this. Like this might have just been a symbol of the times. So like, yes, attack moves are good, support moves are bad. I think also there were events where I ran Trick Room here, and we just had a second Trick Room setter. But I'm gonna put the Energy Ball on it right now, just cause like I'm just gaming. So that's what I ran on this guy for a lot of events. This guy definitely ran the Protect. We ran the Extreme Speed, and then I think I had Dragon Claw. I'm trying to remember. Sometimes I ran Earthquake here, but not like it wasn't like important. I'm trying to remember what else. I think I just had Dragon Dance here, so I'm gonna put that up here. So in case I wanted to do that, like I didn't bring Dragonite like all that often. It wasn't a very usable mon on my team. Like I said, it was mostly there was bait, but it was viable in some situations. Extreme Speed's good. Yeah, I think it's fine. And then for the Garchomp, we ran Protect. There was 2 Garchomp sets that I ran. I ran Protect, Swords Dance, EQ, Dragon Claw. And so the issue with this is like you can go like fake out Swords Dance and just win the game, like easy peasy, like Sash, Veil, like it's good. Metagross, we ran Protect as well. We did not run the Psychic Gem thing. We ran Protect, we ran Zen Headbutt, we ran Earthquake, and we ran Bullet Punch. This is before Metagross got Iron Head, so you had to use Meteor Mash, and I just didn't like missing that. And the Zen Headbutt was there to check other Conkeldurs. Scrafty ran. I don't think I ran Protect on my Scrafty. I ran Fake Out. I ran Fake Out, Crunch, right? I think I ran Drain Punch. Yeah, I think I ran Drain Punch. And I ran Head Smash. And this was for Thundies. This was for Thunder specifically, so when they led Lando Thundy, you could still OHKO their Thundy in one hit. So that was how I ran this mon back in the day. I remember thinking I was so cool for running like an egg move on, I think it's an egg move on Scrapped. I was like, that's cool. No one's going to see that coming. And no one ever saw it coming. It was sick. I liked it a lot. Usually you would just go Fake Out, Crunch on the Cress, and then just Drain Punch everything else. That's kind of how it worked. I don't even think this thing, did it get Ice Punch? Yeah, Ice Punch didn't KO after Intimidate though. So that's why you need the Head Smash, right? So good stuff. So Head Smash here, Crunch, and again, there's no knockoff, right? And I might be like a little wrong on some of these, and these sets are so dated. Like I don't actually even know if we're gonna be able to like win any games if we play on ladder, because like these sets are so specific at forcing your opponent to react the right way. I was talking about this on Discord. I was watching some people play, and what it looks like people are doing is they're trying to force like a Reg H playstyle. They have like Tornaduses, they're going like T-Tar Excadrill, and they're trying to just like win the game in 2 turns. I don't know if my team can keep up with that. That's not like how the game was played back then. You would lead, and then like you would slowly over the course of the game try and get like a slight advantage until you blew open one of your opponent's mons, and then you have 4 and they have 3, and then from there you kind of smother them out. I think that like what's gonna happen is people are gonna try and lead like Rage Powdering Amoonguses, Fake Out pins. They're gonna get themselves caught in a pin, and then like it's Hail Mary for them for the rest of the game, like going all in on Swaggers or Rock Slides, which like that's not how the game was really played back then. But let's try and flush out some of these EVs. I'm not gonna lie, you could optimize so many of these EVs. You're wasting points in a lot of these things, but I think I ran my Cresselia's like heavy. I think I 252 clubbed to like every single one of my mons, because this was like 15 years ago. But yeah, I think I didn't use 0 IV speed because you couldn't get that. But I think I just ran like, and that's so wasteful, like wasting right there. You could definitely take some of this out now, but I'm just gonna run the sets the way that I had them. I think I actually like legit like 252 clubbed like everything. And what I did was I optimized just a little bit, stuff like that, you know, like I was just a little bit. So like I wasn't losing my speed ties to weird things. Like I'm pretty sure actually I ran 12, and I thought I was like the coolest person in the world running 12 there. I'm actually I ran defense Cress in a lot of these situations, because Conkeldurr was just so obnoxious that you like I felt you had to run it. Like Conkeldurr and Lando were like so obnoxious, and T-Tar. And then for Scrafty, you just go same thing, but do cut that up. And I'm pretty sure I did do this, which was like a pain in the butt. I remember having to go like get like I had to KO like one Magikarp. I had to KO like, you know, one Geodude at a time and doing all my EV training and stuff like that. So I remember doing a bunch of this stuff, but that was my team that I used at like the last couple events that I went to. So what we're gonna do now is just go play some games and we're gonna see how this old school team stacks up and if we can actually still win. This is before like a lot of like there was no like open team sheets. It was a different game, but let's see how this one goes. Here we go. And if you guys want to see more VGC 2013 content, let me know. But there is a plethora of videos of me playing 2013, 2012. There might even be some 2011 content up on YouTube. There's a ton of 2014 and 2015, but there's a good amount of 2013. There's games of me versus like other really high-level players that still play the game today. I think I have some games versus like Rally Factura and stuff like that up there that I've looked at in the past. So this sort of team, Heatran's very popular, Cress is popular, Gastrodon was not popular at all. No one used Gastrodon. It had Storm Drain, but like no one used it. That just wasn't like a thing people used back then. It's great here now because I'm trying to use Jellicent, but like it just like this is someone taking like knowledge now. Back then, like, no one used Gastrodon. It was not on anyone's radar. So let's see. What do I want to do here? I want to stop that Cress. So I'm going to lead Scrafty, right? This is also before Covert Cloak or anything like that. So, like, I can lead this. You don't have any Intimidates. There's nothing really stopping me from blowing up your Cress on the first turn if I play my cards right. So I can lead something like Scrafty, Dragonite. I've also ran Lum Dragonite just because Wisp was, like, very, very popular back then. This is also before Cress got Lunar Blessing, by the way. So that's why we're not running Blessing. I'm going to go Scrafty. And I think I'm going to go Garchomp. And I think what I'm going to do is then also go Metagross because we want to be able to deal with that Heatran. And then I'm trying to think like what we need here. I don't mind Jellicent. I don't mind Dragonite. I think I'm going to go Dragonite. And this might be a misplay. I think like old me would not have gone Dragonite here. But you see how we just can delete this Mon on like the first turn of the game and there's not that much they can do about it. Like... You're dead? Probably. I can even go like this. I can even go like Fake Out SD. And then that puts a little bit more damage on it. And so it just lets me like absolutely crunch it. Like you can HP ice me. Oh, is that which one is that? It's not Fairy. Fairy wasn't in the game, right? So it's fighting. Oh, that's weird. Well, I can protect Pivot in my Metagross. That's not bad. And then we'll figure it out. Ooh, the pivots. Oh, the pivots. Oh, the Garchomps. Oh, we're gaming out here. They're going to trigger me here? Skill swap. Oh, we got that Levitate Heatran. Oh, he cooking out here. Flash Fire Cress, Levitate Heatran. Okay. Like this. See, this was not how the game was played back in the day. Let's see. We can KO the Cress this turn. I think that is still the right play. Just trying to think of how I want to do that. What hidden power was that Thunder? Is it like fighting or it could have been flying? That's why it was stabbed probably. I think what I'm going to do is just go BP Dragon Claw into that. Yeah, that's fine. Just to, oh, crit's nice. Citrus? No citrus? Yeah, like old, back then people would have the citrus, right? Easy peasy, Heat Wave, Aqua Berry, and we're not dead. Like, you see how nice that is? Like, not dying to that is like actually really, really cool. I don't know how I'm going to get this thing off the board. Dragonite's okay. Garchomp's going to have to Heat Wave out, or not Heat Wave, dodge these Heat Waves, and win out. That Thundy shouldn't actually have a good matchup here into Garchomp. But you saw a lot of, like, Pinch Berries and, like, other stuff like that that was the linchpin of this. I wonder what they're going to do. Like, we pin the Rotom, we pin the Metagross, the Thundy's here, Gastro's, like, I think we do win out versus a lot of these. I think I'm going to get that guy off the board. I'm going to respect Sash, even though I don't think I need. Metagross is 91. We're faster than this Heatran. Maybe I just Zen Headbutt it. Yeah, just go for damage. Thunder Wave and a Metagross, like, I don't care. Remember, it doesn't matter. It doesn't happen until next turn. They're just faster than me. That's fine. He should actually be using Eruption. I'm surprised that he's not. I think I'm going to come in with Scrafty. And I think I'm just going to loot Scrafty and try and win from here. So I think if I go with something, you have lefties, sorry, lefty, you have Flash Fire here. So like I can go Fake Out there. I should not outspeed you, right? Who do I need to Fake Out? You need to Fake Out the Gastro. Protect Gastro? Like I'm not going to lose it if I don't have to. almost takes it out. No citrus. Again, they would have totally had citrus back then. So now we have multi-scale, like lefties Dragonite. We're in a good spot. Dragonance is good. Earthquake's fine. That doesn't really matter. We're going to be able to break the Gastro, so we're just going to do that. And then we're going to try and break this levitating Heatran. That was not on the bingo card. Hopefully we don't get burned on our Dragonite or our Garchomp. Nice. And so you see we can just like weave in a double protect here and just get our lefties tick, and then we have multi-scale forever. So like this sometimes did happen where like Dragonite just had like too much value. I wonder if this Heatran's choiced. It's definitely something that could be. Dragon Claw. It's weird having a Dragon Claw to Heatran, but like we got good damage here. Look at that value. Heat Wave, please no burn. Oh, and we take those. We're such a... Oh, it's lefties. Lefties is good on Heatran. So we just punish this here. If you would like to protect, you get dump trucked. So that's a cool team. Like, they had all the right stuff. But you see how I was talking about, like, the Cress should have been citrus, the Gastron could have been citrus, the Heatran could have been stuff. Like, they could have, like, they could have been better. They could have tricked him with the Cress, pinned my Garchomp. There were so many little things that they could have done. But you see how the game went, like, 10 turns, right? It's a long game. And so it's a weird meta for people to have to get a hold on to if they're not really used to playing at that tempo. It feels so good. It feels so good to play this format again. That is the type of team that you would hate to fight against. Like, so, like, honestly, there was a really big difference between good players and bad players back then. First of all, bad players couldn't get the monster. The only way to get this Landorus was to have a whole different game that you had to buy called the Dream Radar to even, like, play this little mini game where you used your 3D camera to, like, catch a Landorus, kind of like how Pokemon Go works. So, like, people didn't even have that Landorus back then. It was ridiculous. And having, like, Landorus and Latios, like, oh my gosh, everyone genned, right? But at the same time, like, I didn't have those freaking mons, right? It was hard to get that sort of stuff. So when you saw stuff like this, you wouldn't see these sort of players until like rounds 4 or 5. And then once you did, you knew like they were like undefeated, if you were also undefeated, and like they knew what they were doing. So this is where like the extra tech, like this is where Cresselia, like Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, as long as we don't get KO'd by Shandy, we're in a good spot. So things like Cress Chomp is really good here, I think. The thing we have to watch out for though is Intimidate. So I'm going to go like Cress Chomp. And I'm going to bring also out my Jellicent. I think it's going to be something as well that might be a lot of value. And then I'm going to bring the Scrafty, but I don't think that Scrafty is really that great in this matchup. I'm just going to bring it to be able to stagger out some Intimidates versus the Landorus if I have to. So like Scrafty's like a get out of jail free card. But I'm going to try and win this one with Trick Room if possible. So you see how we pin them right here. I'm going to try and get that off. Let's try and see what we want to do. I wonder if that's sashed. I think I will Trick Room and Earthquake. I know it sounds like terrible, but this is why we have Sash. Like, so normally you wouldn't be able to just sit in front of that, right? Hopefully you're not sashed as well, because that was not a thing back then. Awesome. So Trick Room just went up, which means Jellicent honestly should be able to win the game. You can come in with Amoonguss, but like, don't really care about Amoonguss that much. I should care, I just don't. Right? That's the thing. Because, like, at this point, Cresselia should be able to outvalue your Thunderous. And so you see, like, we should be able... They outspeed us there because this is a 179. This is 178. So we actually underspeed a lot of these things. I think what we do is just hit the Thundy. I'm going to take the bait on the Latios. But that's fine. Never lucky. Oof. Gaming. Right? And see how, like, polarizing Trick Room is. Like... This sort of tech, like, you wouldn't, like, why is there a Lando on the board? You know, it doesn't, or sorry, why didn't you bring your Lando is the actual question. Tornadus doesn't do anything in this format, right? So we just double tap. Look at that. Crit Oko. We don't even have investment. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this person has, like, the cool team. Citrus Thundy, very, very standard. But you see how, like, how the exact right items, like that Sash Chomp is, like, so anti-meta and like perfect for the situation. We didn't even need the rest of our team. You can see why your boy THATSAplusONE was good at this game back in the day. And you know, other people they just weren't that good. They didn't understand like the tempo the game was set at. This is gonna be some sort of weird Linoone like extreme speed belly drum thing. So we just need to like pop that and get them off the board. I think I can actually open up with Jellicent here. Now, there's cool things about Jellicent is, like, if you want to lead, like, Cress and, like, Amoonguss and go, like, Redirection Trick Room, I can just blow you up with, like, a Water Spout. I like both of these here. This person might be able to beat us, but at the same time, I think, like, Sash Garchomp just, like, does outvalue here. I'm trying to think if I want Metagross. It's either going to be Metagross or Dragonite. I think I'm going to go Metagross, but like Metagross and a Scizor is usually a good match for Metagross in this format. So there's the Lando, there's the Amoonguss, so we can just go like fake out Amoonguss Spout. I don't dislike that at all. And then next turn we like pivot. U-turn's fine. So like your boy's getting bodied, bro. Water Gem Bust. Look at that damage. That's so much damage. And then we just do it again. Like Spout again. This is going to be a Dark Gem boosted, which is going to hopefully take out this Amoonguss. I wonder if they're running Citrus Amoonguss. Mach Punch doesn't KO because Scrafty's like absolutely busted and they're orbed. Look at that. Dark Gem boosted. Are you Citrus? No Citrus. Big damage. No whammies. Amoonguss down. Like, I haven't even lost anything yet. Like, we're cooking so hard right now. And here's the Linoone. You're going to be able to go into damage here, but like, can't stop both of them. We're going to Spout out. I'm going to go for the DP and the Linoone. And like, you can E-speed here and hit here, but then like, I just get to repin with something that's unintimidated. Right? And so we should be good. Like, Protect's fine. Like, Protect EQ, like, you still takes a lot. Oh, you crit me. Just kidding. That's banded. That's banded. Okay. That's fine. So let's think about how we want to deal with this. I don't think there's a problem. It's banded, though. I don't like that for me. Oh, I don't know if it's banded, but I think it is. This is the Citrus. You got to not let this happen. Speed the Garchomp. He's breaking my Sash here. I think he got me. I think he got me. We'll see. Oh, I'm alive. Cool, cool. All right, we're good. Let's think about that. So we're going to go Protect here, Bullet Punch here, E-Speed goes into there, you KO your Linoone, and then, yeah. Protect your Linoone here, but I doubt. Ah, good play, good play. I could have doubled into the Lando that turn. Let's see if you even KO me here. I think you do. Oh, we're such gamers here. I think I can just take out, for the Bullet Punch does 27, so we're going to go Pop. I think we're fine here. The right play is technically, I think, to double Protect. Going to come down to Linoone versus Metagross, and Metagross should be able to just... Right play is the double Protect. Yeah. Oh, Protect Lando. It wasn't banded. That is weird. Huh. I could have swore, like, whoa, that's a weird set. Double Protect Lando. Yeah, we came out, though. Weird. Linoone was a cool mon. And the only reason why they even had shots in that game was because they crit our Jellicent. Jellicent was supposed to be able to scout a lot more and like live on the board a little bit easier. But dang, we do be taking those wins. We went undefeated. This is, like I said, the Ruins of Alpha ladder for the month. Let's see what the ladder even looks like. I know that I could get top 10 on this ladder if I want. Like, if I wanted to optimize this team for the ladder, I know I could get like I know I could get top 10. Where even are we? We're even up here right now. We'll be up there soon. What's our rating? We're 1121. This guy was actually 1207. So this guy was actually like, where was he? He's up here. What was his name? Radio Free. There, it's up here somewhere. The Razor's up here. This guy's a good player as well from back in the day. Yeah, so right there, this guy was like ranked 15th on the ladder, and we just like, yeah, we definitely need to be taking those. So like, I think I could get like, this is, we know who this is. I'd like to play them in this format. Unreality, Unreality used to play back then. It'd be really fun to play Unreality in this format. So yeah, I might have to play some of this format. If you want to see me play against some of the OGs in this game, let me know in the comments, and let me know if you want to see more Showdown Lives where I actually show you guys a little bit of how VGC 2013 works. I have a lot of other teams that use like other really cool mons. Darmanitan's in this format, Terrakion's in this format that I like a lot. There's a lot of like really cool stuff. I used a lot of Yanmega back then. Blissey, this is where Blissey was here. Oh, also like this is back when Togekiss, I liked using like normal, or Togekiss wasn't normal type back then, but like extreme speed choice band hustle Togekiss, just like Oko's, like most, like it just Oko's Thunderous with a helping hand. Like it's so good. So let me know if you want to see stuff like that. This has been a lot of fun to play, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. I'll see you guys next time.